Welcome, welcome, welcome for another night of VCS action brought to you by VCS English. My name is Everyday. With me once again are Yulwei and Vinnie. How are you tonight, guys?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, good to hear.
Yeah.
Second day. We have so many more matches, and it's still nothing is decided, especially at the bottom. First series looks interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it is super interesting, and let's sort of very quickly jump into what we thought of this week before it started. If we have a look at how we all predicted, because at the moment, I think I should be taking your jobs, right? Oh wow, that is not how that's meant to be displayed, but it's how it is displayed. I don't know why it's like that. But you can still read it. It looks terrible. It's meant to have a background. I don't know why, but it doesn't. But you can still see what matters is I predicted Flash, while both of my analysts who are meant to be smart predicted Garm. It's a bit strange.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on there?
But very easy prediction there. I mean, we were just foolish to believe that Gum would be the better team. Flash, such a powerhouse. The champions of the league. How can you ever doubt them? It's so obvious.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. No, in all seriousness, it was a tricky one to call. Looking forward for tonight, I think we are certainly in agreement. Our current big brain leader, of course, if you do want to get your name up there, if you join the Discord, there is a competition for pick'ems, and whoever is in first place gets to have their brain shown off next to the casters, and right now he's doing a hell of a lot better than all of us. He's predicted EVOS 2-1. Gonna be honest, don't understand that one. Think that is a bit of a shot in the dark, but we'll see.
Pretty sure I predicted 2-1 for percent, but whatever.
Okay,
It doesn't matter.
You probably changed it
Yeah.
after the graphic was made, which means
Maybe.
for now you have to hold the 2-0, but we'll find out. And we all agree that Cerberus will 2-0 the Buffalo. But let's kind of move past the predictions and talk about why we've made them. Let's start with our first match, of course, as we have EVOS taking on Percent. Now, EVOS, of course, is the underdog. Big time. They've only taken one game, despite all of us predicting that they would be the strongest team in the VCS coming in, because of their acquirements. They have very much disappointed. They've only managed to take a series off of OPG, though I will give them credit where credit is due. They probably should have won against Flash, and they did push Cerberus to their limit, one of the only teams to have that moniker. So, how can they win tonight? I think it might start with a certain horseman of the apocalypse having to ride down. But Vinny, can you tell us about how EVOS has a chance tonight?
So EVOS is basically a group of they look very similar to, for our LEC viewers, Misfits of last year. Top to bottom names that look really good on paper, but they just don't mesh, and the whole thing falls apart. So, but we have seen that they do have decent early games a lot of the time, and they can still play well individually. This is not true for Percent, who mostly struggles in the early game, and so this is where the big boy Zeros on his horse, if it's not banned against him, can roll in and just hopefully snowball the game in their favor. Even though you look at his stats and you're like, oh, those are pretty terrible. Because at the start of the split,
they're shocking.
he was pretty terrible. He has really only found success on the hacker room, and yeah, I did not expect that to be the case.
It's also worth noting, obviously we've made a special stat card for it. He did have one ridiculous performance on the hacker room. It reminded us of the Zeros of old that we were desperately hoping to see on this team. But he's played it twice, both times as a Wukong counter, which globally is known as a very hard counter, and he lost once. And he got smacked in lane as well. Not meant to happen. The second time, of course, I think he went like 14-1 or something. It was disgusting.
Yeah,
is,
13-0-7, I
yeah,
think. was the stat line.
13-0-7, yep. Which was great for your sleeper team, Yulwei, because I know you put a big...
It was.
You really wanted the horse off to ride, and ride he certainly did, and trampled OPG trying to stand in his way. But now let's have a look at the other side of the coin. The boys from Percent. Will Glory lead them to victory in the mid lane, or how will they get across the line here tonight, Yulwei?
So Percent is still favored. Of course, we all have them winning this best of three. Their biggest problem is their early game. And EVOS has actually been strong in the early game, so they have to weather the storm. I think they have to change some of their drafts. They have been drafting weirdly early game focused in the last 2 weeks, which doesn't really make sense for a team that is pretty bad in early game and very good in the late game. Even yesterday against Cerberus, they should have won that second game. They were very close to taking that first game off Cerberus through better team fighting against Cerberus of all teams. So their team fighting is still incredible. All they have to do today is draft team fight, fall behind 2,000 gold, doesn't matter, go for team fights, and EVOS will fight you at every single objective. They don't know what macro is. They just go to Dragon and fight. So it's very easy for a percent to find fights.
Sure.
And they should be the better team fighters. So I think it's pretty easy for them to win. They just have to be careful not to draft themselves into weird early game compositions and then fall behind anyway. So I think it basically has to start in draft for them. And if they come out of draft with a solid team composition with good team fighting, they are favored to win.
Yeah, I think it is somewhat similar to a discussion we had on cast in the GARM game yesterday, which is just don't go into the tent. Just don't go to EVOS's carnival. The good thing, of course, is that GARM's carnival has like roller coasters and stuff, and you're like, hell yeah, I want to go play. EVOS is like a haunted Scooby-Doo fortune teller's tent. And it's like, you know what? I can see from the outside, I don't want to go in there, and I kind of trust Percent not to make that call. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Come on, Percent. Percent,
I agree.
I really, really want... I don't want to show too much bias, and I promise I won't show bias on cast. But in this little section I'm allowed to. I really want Percent to win, because they do not deserve to be where they are on the ladder. They have had such a hard schedule, and if they then catch the brunt of an EVOS resurgence, goddamn, that's unlucky.
Yeah, super unlucky. They had to play against Cerberus and Team Secret already, while not fighting against the super weak Week 1's EVOS. And now that EVOS is on a little bit of an upswing, they have to face them. So it would be very unfortunate for them to now be run over by EVOS that is suddenly back in their form everyone expected them to be in. But I feel like we are still in territory where EVOS has to ramp up and is not quite there. So hopeful for Percent.
I definitely don't think people should be reading as much into the OPG win as people are. OPG looks very bad. Let's be completely honest. They are clearly the worst team in the league by quite a margin. Okay, EVOS, you got your win. Cool. Let's beat someone that's good now. That said, EVOS fans, if they do beat Percent tonight, that is a huge boon to their split. Does give them some hope going forward. So yeah, we'll have to see how we go. It'll be an interesting one. Vinny, you're I know we intentionally had it so you didn't talk about Percent for once, but I'm going to make you do it anyway. Do you think Percent will have the mental restraint to not get baited by EVOS?
I think so. There are players on Percent that have played quite a few games against the players on EVOS. We have YT and 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏 specifically, who can hopefully try and guide the team away from just playing to EVOS's level. Hopefully.
We just quickly. I'm just going to quickly jump in here. Just saw someone on stage I didn't expect. Taurus is starting today. 𝗬𝗏𝗏, the other top laner for Percent.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. That 2-1 prediction.
And I'm not sure
a lot better.
That is really strange. That is really strange to me.
Why?
Well, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is in for EVOS, so no TH today. Zeros and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 the solo laners, which makes a lot of sense.
Maybe they just want to give Taurus a run. That has to be the only... They can't seriously... Oh, I hope they don't have illness or something. That could change everything. Taurus will get absolutely clowned on by Zeros.
For people who haven't watched the promotion tournament, Taurus, or 𝗬𝗏𝗏 as he's named now, and Lisa were the 2 weak points for Percent, and we were like, yeah, they look like a solid team, but top lane and support are not VCS level. And luckily, they picked up a different top laner, YT, and Lisa stepped up his game, so they're actually both now in an okay position. But 𝗬𝗏𝗏 in promotion tournament was a big problem for them.
Yeah, that is an understatement and a half. But we are going to go to a little bit of a break to get ready for draft. There is apparently... I'm looking at the stream and it's struggling at the moment, so who knows how long it'll take. It shouldn't be long. We will be back as soon as there is a draft to cast. It could be as little as 10 seconds. It could be as long as 5 minutes. You're going to find out. The VCS is a place of magic and surprises. It's also a place for us to be able to get some water and get ready for the cast. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Don't you worry.
I am the light bringer. Now listen, fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end? There's way more to avenge.
Welcome back, everybody. Tech issues aside, we have, of course, missed a few picks, as you can see. The bans have come in. Jace, Renekton, and Ashe were removed by Percent. Zoe, Aphelios, and Bard by EVOS. We can see half of the Percent team. And Yulwei, you were the one talking about them. What do you think so far?
Oof, that's a start. Very aggressive. I didn't want to see a lot of early game focus. I think so far it's fine. It's a little bit early game, trending towards early game, but that is okay if they round it out with a solid teamfight core with the last two picks. Not really what I wanted to see for Percent, but they have two new members in, so their identity might shift a little bit. I'm still quite worried for 𝗬𝗪 being in. And 𝗬𝗲𝗪 so far hasn't really convinced me either, so I much prefer 𝗬𝗲 and Eagle on the top side.
This is 100% EVOS's best chance to get a win, I think, with 𝗬𝗪 and 𝗬𝗲𝗪 playing. I just think it's the worst lineup. Percent, fair enough if you want to give them a run in a game one when you're confident that you can win the back two. Personally, if I was in Percent's position on the ladder, I wouldn't do that, but the call's been made. It's not my choice. But throwing over to what we've seen from EVOS while the second round of bans do roll in. Vinny, what do you think so far? Because I think it's looking strong.
Yeah, this is a very, very strong, very standard sort of composition setup so far. You've got a very powerful bot lane and one of the best jungler picks. Plus, you have so much versatility in what you want to pick from here. Now, I imagine EVOS will probably pick their mid laner right now because you can see it's going to be a Syndra. And that saves Xerath the counter pick, and that should be their main point of strength coming into this matchup.
You can see Percent anticipated the Xerath counter pick. It's not super hard on red side, of course. And they banned away Hecarim and Jax. So we have to see if EVOS can actually pick another counter pick, or if they are just going to go with the strongest blind. And it seems like they just want to go Wukong here. And does 𝗬𝗪 have anything to counter?
What have Percent just done? Look what they have just done to themselves.
We
are on
weird,
red
yeah.
side. We will ban the 2 Wukong count. Oh shit, they picked Wukong. Oh, what have we done? What have you just done to yourself?
Okay.
Apparently Rumble.
Okay.
Okay, they had a
We mid-game, boys.
I was going to say that we there is the potential for, Malphite. We've seen that as a Wukong counter
That's a
from
soft
Descent
counter.
before.
That's true.
That's a
Though
very
it
soft
was
counter.
the YT.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That is super good champ for YT, yeah. Wouldn't make sense to have 𝗬𝗪 on Malphite.
I have no idea what 𝗬𝗪's strengths even are, or even if he has any. So, the Rage Cage situation, as it is known, the spicy hot pot, it's definitely an option. It plays into the team fighting, and the wombo combo is there. So, they definitely pivoted to team fight as you wanted.
Yeah, that is what we
that's good to see.
That is their strength.
There's a lot of wombo on both sides. If you think about Wukong Galio together against, of course, what you just alluded to, all the combinations on the side of Percent. I even think a spicy hot pot and then throwing a blitzcrank on top of that, some melting metal on top of that.
It's the melted cheese, mate. It's got like all the meat and stuff in the hot pot, and then you get the cheese on top.
That's true.
Get them stuck down. I have a feeling we know how this one might go a little bit. I want to point out the fan vote on screen is very EVOS favored. That is purely strength of brand. Let's be completely honest. But we did get a statistic. I don't have a graphic for it, but we did get a statistic that our big brain vote is 57-43% split. Percent favored. That is way too close. You are all inting, and I'm disappointed in all of you. I'm setting Tupper every day.
I mean, everyone knew 𝗬𝗪 would start today, so apparently.
Apparently everyone just knew that it was going to be 𝗬𝗪, because that actually gives EVOS a pretty big chance. Regardless, I think we can see what these comps want to do. And I'm going to have to say, Yulwei, I hope you're ready to solo cast the non-team fights, because I think I might have to save my throat. Because I think we're going to get some big team fights that's going to put a lot of pressure on me.
Non-team fights are you talking about? We're in the VCS. There is no non-team fights. You mean the 30 seconds where when it's resetting for the next fight, okay, I'll do that.
You make a very good point. So, Vinny, while the teams are running out for their initial defense, can you give us your last thoughts and a prediction?
So, yeah, 𝗃𝗏𝗏 and 𝗃𝗏𝗏 being in do sort of throw a wrench in what I would have just said %. But overall, I think if they can team fight like they did against Cerberus, that should favor % pretty handily. I actually am interested to see this top matchup because I actually have no idea how that goes.
I think... Yeah, okay. So with that, I'm going to throw off your point, even though you can't answer. I'll get Yulwei's opinion on it. I think Rumble will probably function very similarly to the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 Wukong matchup. You just want to pick AP into Wukong. His passive doesn't work against it, and his passive is a big reason why Wukong's kind of broken in lane.
This is a little bit more volatile compared to the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏, in my opinion.
Okay.
𝗃𝗏𝗏 should have very easy push early on, especially with his mastery as well, going for the comet, so full lane priority. Makes him very vulnerable to ganks, especially from someone... okay, I actually looked at the wrong side. So someone can gank him, it's not the greatest. I feel like you can probably kill, at least force his flash early on though. But 𝗃𝗏𝗏 should have full lane priority early on, so I want to see early top lane attention from 𝗃𝗏𝗏 as well. Try to keep him safe. Maybe you can even go for a dive. Your mid lane is not the greatest diver early on. You could still try to attempt that and put Zeros very far behind. Because what we have seen so far from EVOS is when Zeros is not in a good position, Zeros, they just lose. EVOS has a very strong bot lane, but so far they haven't really been able to play around B and 𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗏's lane strength. So far, if Zeros is behind, EVOS is going to lose. That happened way too often already, this split.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. You almost get the feeling that Zeros must be a big shot-calling voice, which is very weird that your top lane is your shot caller. But, oh my god, speaking of big, look at that level 1 trade. It was actually the early level 2. That's my mistake. Of course, that's why it was so big. They burnt all of their summoners for %. Jesus Christ, they wanted that kill.
Super aggressive. They saw their opportunity there to use 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏's super strong level 2 power spike to go all in. And of course, it's quite a feat if you can now win against 𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏, who are, in my opinion, still the strongest 2v2 duo, especially if they are on form.
Yeah.
So,
oh no. Here comes 𝗁. Zeros going very low. 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 immediately flashes away and they won't want to chase. But first gank from 𝗁 gets the flash.
Yeah, that was very easy to see. As I said before, it's quite easy to get his flash. I think he's too far away from Zeros to really do anything there. So he should be fine.
Killer, but alright, he's fine now.
But now he's super overextended. You can't really play a freeze or anything on Rumble, not very easily. You want to push out the minion wave all the time. So now he should be ganked again for 𝗁. He has flashed, Zeros has flashed as well. Once Zeros hits 6, that is just a pretty easy free kill in my opinion. So play around top side, get Zeros ahead. That plan, that a basic plan for every single EVOS game should be easy, put to fruition in this situation quite easily.
So we see here, we have 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 coming mid to help 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 shove the wave. You love to see it. That is a good little micro thing to do and to spot in professional games because it gets 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 the free reset. Love to see it. I'm just happy to see that.
Yep.
It's also worth noting, I'm almost sad that Vinny has to mute himself so he can't respond to this. They've put 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 on a carry. He's got Syndra. Come on. You can't complain about that, can we?
Yeah, that should be good. Actually, how % plays around 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 Syndra is very strange. They like to put him weak side mid lane. Weak side mid lane sounds a little bit weird because it's not really a side, right? But they don't play towards mid lane at all in his games when he's on Syndra. He just quietly farms up as a strong asset in team fights, and they usually focus on top or bot lane. Let's see if they play through that as well. In this game so far, only a little bit of mid attention, as you just pointed out, to push out and give him a free back. He actually TP'd anyway, so that didn't do much for them. And now he's in a TP disadvantage. I don't like that. I think 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏 could have just walked back to lane. I think he would have lost like 2 CS or something, but a little bit overzealous. They're using the TP to get back to lane. Now 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 can respond to something like a bot dive, like a top lane play.
Yeah, that actually is actually a pretty big mistake, I think. I think it stops them being able to use the 𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 pressure bot, because you'd love to dive that lane. It's 𝗲𝗏. He's very immobile. Also worth noting, it is on hit 𝗲𝗏. It's a decision that's been made. No lethality here. We building Borks.
Yeah, we're building Borks indeed. So Bork against Bork bot lane. This is a strange decision to me. This basically signals that they want to go late game with a little bit more consistent damage. In mid game, I feel like lethality 𝗲𝗏 would have been better, especially because no one really goes for armor early on percent side. Maybe 𝗧𝗲𝗏, but do you really care about him going armor? You don't really. So yeah, kind of strange decision. We have to see what 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗓 does with it. It's a little bit better.
This is very
maybe in the late
risky
game
here for EVOS to contest. They did not have priority bot. They've got it now. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗓's arriving late. 𝗬𝗲 going forward with the fist. Here comes Glory. He rips the ult. He's got the first blood, but who's going to get the second half of the fight? 𝗧𝗲𝗏 going low, but here's the teleport.
So close.
Not answered by 𝗲𝗏. That was the big trade. Oh, good God, no!
No! How did that happen? The jungler disengaged already. No. Oh, that is so unfortunate. In the end, it's still a kill for percent. And
I want to point out,
we talked about this.
I was not out of sync there, because I just saw that coming. I started that oh good God when I saw the arrow charge.
Yeah, I feel like percent definitely acknowledged or knew that EVOS would contest even from a bad situation. We talked about this in the pre-game. EVOS is very keen to fight even from bad situations, and they kind of lost a lot of fights against Flash, especially last week, where they just didn't have to fight. Once again, they really didn't have to contest this one. Bot lane, as he pointed out, was very far behind.
Where does 𝗧𝗏𝗏 smite? Because he's got smite right now.
Yeah. I think, yeah, he flashes forward here on top of B. He now has to disengage. It gets very low.
He's already smited now. Just delay the damage. Just delay the damage. Oh, I hate this. Delay the rend, 𝗃𝗀𝗏. There's like 3 things you could have used. I hate it. But here comes 𝗬𝗏𝗏, and he'll be hating it too.
And what a great game to cast from a color perspective, because everything happens like it's easy to predict. There was an early gank on top, the 𝗬𝗏𝗏's flash was blown, and 𝗲𝗏 hit 6, easy gank in the top lane. 𝗃𝗏𝗏 even uses his ultimate to go top as well. And we see the very easy first kill on 𝗬𝗏𝗏, who has fallen behind in CS even, will give up another 2 plates. This should be 2 plates, if 𝗲𝗏 wants to. I'm not sure why he doesn't go for 2 plates.
He definitely could have. Wukong pushes very quickly.
Yeah, that was a little bit wasted time, but he still gets an assist, and he's far ahead in CS. This is now a position where 𝗬𝗏𝗏, even though this matchup in isolation is quite good for the Rumble, or it can be good for Rumble, now he's so far behind and exposed in lane as well. He is going to have a very hard time keeping up in CS and levels even.
I'm very worried because I think percent might have come to the big top, and 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is looking like the lead clown as he's getting reganked. The flay does land, but the hook does not. And it's only a brain snap from B that saves 𝗬𝗏𝗏's life. Percent wants this Herald, but they don't have the big ultimates.
Yeah, no Rumble ultimate here. Glory has ult, and 𝗃𝗀𝗏 has ultimate too. So, this is so risky. The eye will open on the wrong side for percent. They reset. That's a good decision. That would have been very easy to steal for EVOS.
But
will the fight continue?
Look at the level gap
EVOS
between 𝗁 and 𝗧𝗏𝗏. Where has that come from? 𝗁 is 2 levels ahead. Give this up, percent. You cannot fight for this.
𝗬𝗏𝗏 will have ultimate now, so they could try to wombo combo here.
They don't have the pot to put the hot in. Here they go. The equalizer is only on 1 person. That is one of the worst equalizers I've seen in years. Jesus Christ. Get me out.
Where did you put that, 𝗬𝗏𝗏? There were 5 players. Why did you put it like that? Just angle it completely the other direction and you go straight into the pit. And no one can really get away from the pit anyway. That is a horrible passage of play for percent, and they will lose the first turret on top of that. Look at the gold lead, already 2k. Will go even higher with the turret falling here and extra turret gold.
This is... percent. I said it in Champ Select. Maybe you just want to give 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and 𝗧𝗏𝗏 a run. Bit tricky though, because I think 𝗬𝗏𝗏 might have come on stage after losing a fight with a car, because it looks like his legs are broken. He's not getting much of a bloody run, is he? He's just seeing a lot of grey screen.
Nope.
This was I don't know why he's been brought in. You had a better top laner. You
Yeah,
had a better one.
We done.
you can't-
Both players actually.
EVS,
It's such an important series for both teams. It's so important for Percent to go 3-3
Exactly.
after the first 6.
Exactly. You
They
can't
can't
lose this
afford
series.
to lose to a 1-4 team.
This series is so important for Percent. You can't be starting these players. What are you doing? You are not Cerberus. You are not undefeated. This is I'm angry, Yulwei. I'm mad.
It's a very puzzling choice. I really hope they put in the other players for the next game, because this one is close to over. Of course, we have seen some very horrible throws for EVS, and that can happen still. But from a 3-game K-Gold advantage on these champs, I think it's quite likely they can bring the game home, because they just have to dive all the time. Like around Dragon, just dive in with Zeros and Parky as a follow-up. Even Sawn can get in there. Zero's in a little bit of a strange position here.
Yeah, but he
Flashes
is going to
over the
whirl
wall.
away. Yeah, I think he was just a bit worried about Glory on his way up. I don't blame the Flash. I think it was fine.
Yep, fair enough. I didn't see Glory there. Yeah,
take the
he
risk.
was close
And
enough.
look at that. They committed a roam up to the top side to try and shut down the Silly Monkey. But it turns out it was Percent who were the Silly Monkeys, as the Dragon will be taken. And there's no Miracle Steal for Percent.
The Cloud Rift will come in. That's okay for Percent. I feel the Infernal Rift would have been, or the Infernal Soul would have been more dangerous.
For sure.
Cloud Soul, for Zeros especially, is quite nice. He can
Sawn.
get very, very fast, spinning across everyone. Sawn, yeah, it's just a movement speed tool on VR. Together with more tankiness, you're also more speedy. So he actually gets his face rush, even though he went for press the attack. He basically has 2 runes at that point, if he gets that one.
Very strong. We are not too close to the Dragon Soul, but of course, if EVS can keep their foot on the gas, they will be speeding this jalopy pretty quickly towards it. Thorn going for a blue buff steal here. He has been snuck out by 2, but he has a
He's so
Galio
tanky,
and a
though.
Wukong in range. 𝗃𝗏𝗏 caught up by 1 level, but we are seeing the Trundle v Jarvan difference. Something we actually didn't really comment on was the Jarvan pick. Not exactly a jungler that's in vogue.
No, it's really just for composition, right? We have Rumble, J4, we all know the combination. It has been in Meta so many times across all the years. It's really not catering to the actual meta right now. It's much more, okay, we want to play this combination. It's not really in meta right now. Rumble isn't the strongest champ, J4 isn't the best jungler, but together they can still shine. So far, we haven't really seen them shine. I mean, there's still potential for level 11 𝗏𝗏𝗏 combined with now finally the ult available for 𝗃𝗏𝗏 for the next team fight. You can always land a perfect ultimate, a double ultimate, and follow up by Bikoro and Glory. It's going to be difficult, though.
Has 𝗏𝗏𝗏's first ultimate in a team fight, where he put it the wrong way and hit one person who was a tank, instilled you with the confidence that that's going to happen? It's possible, but are you confident?
No.
No.
I'm not a big fan of Rumble, I have to say. I feel like he puts your team into a very strange position because he can't side lane against anyone. You really have to play. Yeah, you really have to play around the mid-game objectives, and when you fall behind this far in the early game, what are you actually playing for? You need to fight the next few dragons because you can't rely on your late game. Rumble is not a great late game champion. It's so easy to build against him. You just need one locket of the Iron Solari in the late game to negate most of his damage. You can't side lane with him, as I said before, especially into Wukong. Wukong will be getting to a point where you can almost one-shot the Rumble. So yeah, I'm always not the biggest fan. I feel like Rumble teams need to be super coordinated in the mid game and able to play a very aggressive early game, and that's really not Percent's strongest suit. So don't really understand this pick, and so far it hasn't done much.
I mean, I don't understand the composition. I kind of thought maybe Percent big brained it, and they were like, oh, look, we banned the 2 Wukong counters. Don't you want to pick Wukong now? Here we go, though. The hot pot has been called, but it's kind of in the bad position, but it shouldn't matter. Zeros will burn down, and finally something back for Percent. Well, it worked.
Big mechanical mistake for Zeros there. He could have W'd out of the
Cataclysm,
hot pot, I think.
If you can go through
Can you
Trundle
do
Pillar,
that?
if you can go through Trundle Pillar, you can go through Jarvan.
Yeah, I think he should be able to do so. So he his W came in way too early. He of course had no flash from the earlier chase. So good pick from Percent. This is one of the strong sides for Percent from behind. This is why they win so many games, even when they lose the early game. On average, 1.7k gold down at 15, and still an even record in games. So or almost even record until yesterday. So this is one of the best things about Percent. In mid-game, they find picks in side lanes. They find picks for overextended enemies. Once again, able to strike, but it's only one kill back, and they bleed out more objectives on the map. Especially because 𝗬𝗲 and 𝗧𝗲 use both their ultimates that are supposed to be their team fighting tools, so now they can't team fight.
Yeah, they'll be up for
one.
the dragon, though, which is what matters. 45 seconds on the dragon. The ults are not on that long a cooldown. So they will be ready, all guns blazing, for the first 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗍 when he does decide to wing out of his lair. And look, we have been a bit hard on Percent so far, and don't think that's unwarranted. It's been a pretty shocking early game, some very bad decisions. But there is still a very good chance for EVOS to EVOS it.
Absolutely. It definitely looks like the Percent does not really want to contest this one, though.
Ooh,
they want 𝗬𝗲 on level 11.
But he's okay. That's a big ult. I think they should contest.
Yeah, but 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 needs to reset. He's sitting on so much gold. He just collected the single target gold for the turret, and he completed his call. So he should be sitting on at least the completed first item.
They're pinging him.
So they are very far behind an item.
Is coming. He has Cyclone. Big Toro has a flash. Needs to get away. He's hippeting. He's hoppeting. But the rabbit will be eaten by the monkey. And 𝗲𝗲 even gets away. Absolute disaster for Percent. And they drop an equalizer. The big team fight ult gets nothing done. The dragon goes to EVOS. And get your horns ready. Because I think we've got a clown fiesta. The circus is certainly in town. Glory missing spells. Oh dear God. It takes another one. That's not good enough. Here they go. They're trying to get it back. It's 4v4, but now it's 3v4 as 𝗧𝗲𝗏 goes down. Parquet goes gold. Glory has it all to do. He's only got 2 before he goes down, though, and I believe the rest of Percent will be going to the grave. 𝗬𝗲𝗏 might get away, but dear God, he is just a man to tell a tale. What just happened?
What a collapse from Percent. Everything went so wrong in that fight. It started out with 𝗘𝗀𝗏 getting caught, but that is actually not that bad. We have to see, though, what happens in the fight in the replay. Now, let's focus on what actually happened on the map. EVOS gets another dragon. They move closer to the soul. They open up the gold gap to 3k now, which doesn't really matter too much, considering they were already far ahead in gold. But this might just be enough to push them over the line. And let's look at how 𝗘𝗀𝗏 got caught here. 𝗲𝗏's flash ulting on the other side, so 𝗘𝗀𝗏 can't immediately flash over. That was quite a smart decision. It's super risky, though. He drops super low to the turret and should have died if, the Rumble actually used his ultimate in the correct direction, which once again didn't happen. Now we have to sadly watch 𝗀𝗏 miss every single spell. Shout out to Vinnie.
Oh my God, no! He did the EQ wrong! No! Glory looking gory at the moment. It's a bloody horror movie. B with a great hook there. Let's shout that out. Shit, man.
Yeah, 𝗬𝗲𝗏 just doesn't have the damage. Look at 𝗬𝗲𝗏. He gets chased down by 𝗁, who's the one level down full tank Trundle. And Trundle just chomps on 𝗬𝗏 there. 𝗬𝗏 has no chance of fighting back. So we already see how this champion isn't the greatest 1v1 champion. And if he continues to use his ultimate on single targets to secure single target kills.
Maybe he thought Rumble ult actually launches control ward. So I can't click the lantern. I control warded it. Nope. Nope. Just don't know where you get that idea from. But that's the only logic I can think of for why he would use that ult. Unless he was just bad. But a professional player couldn't be bad, right? They wouldn't play a bad player. Have to go into the tank, steer that one, as Shirley will get her charge on and rocket down the mid lane. Ooh, a hook onto 𝗁, and there they go. That's a free kill, but it's going to turn into a fight as the bounce house has been used. 𝗧𝗲𝗏 going low. He'll go down to the Wukong. Lisa gets hooked. 2 for 1 at the moment. He's traded back, though. And despite the good start, 2 for 2.
4v5 situation, though, from the team that is down. So still quite a good play for percent. They get a 2-for-2 trade in kills and a little bit of control over mid lane. They also stop the mid lane push, so turret's still standing. A little bit of a win there. And actually looking at Glory's stats, he's going to be their strongest point. 4-1 on the Syndra, even though he needs to land a little bit more in the team fights. Hopefully he can get back to his former form in the next team fight.
Thankfully, Syndra, much like Zoe, you can miss everything, but as long as you've got unleashed power, you deal damage. Doesn't really matter. Not getting the full potential for sure.
He's going for the lowest cost build with a lot of AP. He's going for the Spellbinder, which of course is a super efficient item. It's like 2,900 gold for 120 AP. It's a lot of raw AP and a lot of movement speed. What is going on here?
Good God. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 is smashing 𝗏𝗂𝗏 is what's going on there. Look at it.
That was so aggressive. He just ran at him. Like, oh, you're Kalista? I don't care. I have more items. I can just auto take you to death. And he certainly could.
And I mean, this is
he's in a very good position.
That's one of the things about him not going for the lethality is that he actually has the same spikes, or at least very similar spikes, as Kalista. Because obviously lethality, 𝗲𝗏, the build is so cheap, but the spikes aren't as big. It's a bit weird. But now, both Bork, then into their attack speed items. They're doing the same thing.
That's actually something that is not great to opt into Kalista, because most of the time Kalista goes off to a great lead, right? She's the strongest early game ADC in the game. Maybe shared that spot with Draven at some points, but right now in professional play, she's super easy to play around, super easy dice to set up. So usually you don't want to go the same build path as Kalista, because she will be ahead of you. In this game though, 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 3-4, same CS, so he has actually had an items. And now he's scaling better into team fights, more range, more utility. Kalista is falling off already. It's going to be a hard mid game to play for percent. They still need to look for picks. They have a lot of pick potential, of course, with Lisa on Blitzcrank, with the combination of 𝗃𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 still. Oh no.
𝗲𝗏 was faking them out there so much. Oh, yeah, love to see it. But percent will not be happy. They've taken a lot of chunk damage. Lisa's very low. And there's a dragon.
This is the dangerous spot, though.
Glory's been hooked. That's a disaster. In comes the Galio ult. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 does manage to dodge it. The Rumble ult is not great again. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 does not go down to Glory's damage. He's now been exhausted. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is desperately hopping, but the Cyclone is in, and it's definitely the wet season, as that Cyclone has just destroyed a whole town. Triple kill for 𝗲𝗏, and it's Cloud Soul for EVS.
And on top of that, afterwards, they are a little bit low, but they have the Blade of the Rune King on 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 together with the Rage Blade, so that's a lot of damage on Baron. They seem to not want to go for it immediately. Usually EVS a very aggressive team when it comes to Baron, but they don't really have to force it right now. They can reset, get a little bit more HP back, use their gold they just got in the last team fight to now set up the Baron push. And this should be final nail in the coffin. This is such a good spot to fight for percent's composition.
Why is that not in the bush? Why is it not angled upwards?
Yeah.
Come on,
I
𝗏𝗏𝗏.
don't understand it either.
I can do that. I'm a silver player, and I can do that. Jesus.
𝗏𝗏𝗏's angling of the ultimates has been very, very bad, for sure. And I did not expect EVS to win that spot, honestly. There is such a good spot to fight for percent's composition, but if all the magic damage doesn't really do much to you, then the consistent damage is on EVS' side. Top lane has a lot of consistent damage. Even 𝗏𝗏𝗏 can, at this point, still deal a lot of damage. 10 stacks on his 𝗏𝗏𝗏s as well. And 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏, of course, much more long-ranged than Kalista on the other side. Kalista just had to hop away from 𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is basically just zoning Kalista off dealing any damage in these fights.
Yeah, and then
so it's all on 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Yeah, it's they are so far behind now. Cloud Soul on top of that. Of course, Cloud Soul isn't really stats in fights, but it's now even harder to catch them out, especially with something like the big wombo combo compositions, because they just run away. They have so much movement speed now.
I think the one big problem with it is it kind of invalidates Kalista's biggest strength, her kiting, because they're just so fast. You can hop all you want. That Trundle has got to hunt your ass down. He's getting there.
Yeah, indeed. And especially also 𝗲𝗏. 𝗲𝗏 already has shown that he's on top of his gameplay right now with Wukong, always chasing down 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And how is 𝗏𝗏𝗏 going to be able to get away from Cloud Soul double ultimate from Zeros. It's definitely not going to be easy. Cleanse doesn't work against knockups. I guess you can cleanse Flash, but you know, it's only one knockup. There's another knockup to follow.
This is such a failure on the side of Percent. I'm sorry to be as mad as I am, but Jesus.
Let's also look at the other side and praise the EVOS, because of course they're playing against a little bit of a weakened Percent. We don't really know how much of their full strength they're playing at right now. Different lineup, not the two best players in top and jungle, but still EVOS so far quite a clean game. They had the one mistake where EVOS Zeros overchased in top lane and failed to W out of the ultimate, and he died. Okay, that's just one kill. That happens. But other than that, objective control was okay. Their first dragon was a little bit iffy, but other than that, perfect execution so far. So I'm quite impressed with them. 6k gold lead. They are now trying to set up the last place. Baron is in their eyes, and they should be able to get Baron into a game victory in, let's say 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's the next big objective here.
For sure. We have to, maybe there'll be a big 𝗲𝗲 hook that gives them a 4v5. Going to be tricky, though, because I think he might die. No, he flashes away from the chains of corruption. Well done. This is... oh, God. Yulwei.
Very impressive Varus game for 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗻 so far. He is so good on these chains of corruptions. He also hasn't died yet into a team that is full on diving the enemy ADC. Like, it's so hard not to die as an immobile ADC against 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏, Blitzcrank, Syndra, J4, and of course the AoE damage from the equalizer as well. So very good job from 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏. He hasn't even built defensive items yet. Full aggression, I should say.
Yeah. And
his chains of corruptions have landed or had to force summoner spells. Yeah. So very impressive game. Yeah, super good to see 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏 finally stepping up again.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, I've been railing on Percent pretty hard, but you are very right. Thank you for bringing some happiness back to the cast, because this is looking good for EVOS, but it is a hook. They went for the combo. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏 has pressed the gold button. They've used the Cataclysm, but where is 𝗃𝗏𝗏? He's not in the fight. What is happening here? They're going to get one kill. That's a big one onto 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏. Maybe if 𝗃𝗏𝗏 hits the biggest equalizer in the history of equalizers, but I don't think so. You could not equalize this with a full textbook on Marxism. This is the most broken class system I've ever seen. EVOS, they are the ruling class.
For sure, in this game at least. They wanted to be the ruling class from the start of the split, but maybe they finally found their footing here. This was the most 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏 play I've ever seen. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏 is known for overextending and flashing forward.
Didn't matter,
what an insane flash that was.
Why did Percent call that fight without 𝗃𝗏𝗏? He was in bot lane. He hadn't even backed yet. It's not like he was on the
They
TP.
saw the opportunity to go for the combo, as he said, and the hook landed on 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏. So
combo? What? They didn't even have the rumble. I don't understand. They only had the hook. They had the hook 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏, I guess, but
yeah. Look at this. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏, they hook 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏 over the wall. Oh wow, what happened to the wall there? That was a little strange. But 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏 flashes over. Look at 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏 go. Such a 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏 play. I love it.
I do.
A little bit too aggressive.
I mean, it doesn't
but
matter.
But in the end, it doesn't really matter. No. He's basically the front line for his team, and his team is trying to follow up, of course, with all the movement speed, double movement speed buff there from Cloud Soul, as well as the Cloud Rift extra movement speed. Made him run so fast, it was insane. But now, next objective on the map is, of course, the Elder Dragon. The last chance, maybe, for Percent to get back. If they steal the Elder Dragon, I mean, they're still 10k gold down, so even if they steal the Elder Dragon, I feel like they would lose the fight anyway.
To be fair, we have seen EVOS lose from 10k gold down merely a week or so ago. There is a hook onto B. They should be able to follow that up with the damage, but no, he's still alive. 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏, he's hipping, he's hopping. He's going to the grave. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗏𝗏's got 3. Wukong will pick up 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the backside. It's an ace. They're not even going to do the Elder. They just want to push the wave in and take the win. And this is, I will go back to what I was saying before the Baron fight erupted. You can say whatever you want about Percent, but you can't take much away from EVOS. They have looked squeaky clean this game.
Very, very good execution once again for EVOS. As you just said, they looked super clean. They didn't go for the Elder Dragon. Instead, they waited patiently for the enemy team to engage. They knew Percent had to fight for the Elder Dragon. So just wait for them to engage and then count. Like, 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻 now had some exquisite 𝗘𝗀𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍 there, just standing still in the Cataclysm, didn't care about it being chained there.
Oh
Just
my God.
auto-attacking all the time. Didn't even drop to his GA.
That was
Insane.
That was one-sided. Let's bring the boy himself back. Vinny, what just happened?
I think I just saw the worst Rumble in existence play.
He definitely had a bit
Rumble
of a
is actually
tumble.
a more appropriate name than Rumble because he was absolute trash.
Yeah, the mech
awful.
was on the fritz, I think. He needs to go to the workshop.
Yeah,
It's not working.
I don't think a single equalizer hit more than one person in those fights. That one around Baron that he was late to teleport to, he just straight up whiffed it.
God.
That wasn't even entirely his fault. Like, they called that fight like he was halfway through a teleport when he was recalling.
They called that fight, and that was the call itself was bad, and that you can't blame the call on him, but you can blame the fact he didn't land a equalizer on anyone when they were completely grouped up.
That's very true. Very, very true.
So I think you need Eagle in.
Yep.
Because the shot calling is night and day with Eagle and 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗲.
I'm going to cut you off just a little bit, because I think we've railed on Percent just a bit too much. Give us... we need to go to our break, we need to pick an MVP, but before we do, let's talk about EVOS a little bit. Because I think it's very obvious what Percent needs to change. They need to bring in their actual players, and they need to not play... Don't pick early game against EVOS. I keep saying it. Don't go into their spooky carnival.
Pick a jungler that doesn't just lose
that too.
In terms of farming.
That's very true as well. You saw Sorn had 2-level leads at objectives early on. Let's talk about EVOS, because they are a 1-4 team who was meant to be one of the best teams in the league. I gotta say, they were executing their comp very, very well. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah,
EVOS looked like they played their comp really well. They had nothing. I'm a bit more focusing on Percent because it felt like EVOS didn't really do anything spectacular.
That's a fair point, but still, I want to give props.
The team fighting looked quite crisp.
They played very well in their team fights, but it felt like it did feel a lot more like Percent giving them the win than EVOS playing super well. EVOS didn't play badly at all, but EVOS didn't make any. It didn't really, outside the first dives onto 𝗬𝗪, they didn't really make any game-winning moves. Percent just kept making game-losing moves.
That's potentially fair, but you got to catch the throw, right? That's the big thing. You do have to catch the ball. Now, let's pick an MVP so we can go off to our break and try and get our brains back in our heads, or at least I need to. Who do we think was MVP? I mean, all of EVOS played pretty damn well, honestly. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻, 𝗲𝗏, candidates. Sorn, even.
One of the two.
Sorn was a good jungler. Probably, I lean towards 𝗲𝗏. Okay, I'll leave it to you guys. You guys.
I think 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻 impressed me a lot in this game.
Fair enough. We'll give it to 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻 then. He will be our Game 1 MVP. Now, don't go anywhere, guys. We will be back here on VCS English to see if Percent can perhaps find their best 5 and give themselves more than a 0% chance to win. Because after Game 1, you've got to think that EVOS has a good chance of securing their second series. We'll be right back, guys, in just under 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for being here. welcome back, everybody, as I throw it to the wrong screen. God, I'm good at production. You'll love to see it. It is us on screen, of course. As much as the GG Stadium casters are looking good, you're here for us. For some reason. We've had a few minutes to decompress after a stressful game one. I've had to go and meditate for a little while to deal with my anger issues. So, boys, what needs to change in game two? Other than the players, because that's obvious.
Don't draft such a volatile composition. I feel like this is so easy to punish, so easy to read for EVOS. They just did exactly what they had to do. Level 3, top lane gank to force flash. Level 6, top lane dive to force the kill. Zeros is unbelievably far ahead. They can't really play through top lane anymore. Yeah, okay. The game is basically over.
Yeah. I really... Did they outthink themselves with the Wukong counter bans? Because Rumble didn't look good. It was too easy to punish. Like, yeah, maybe if Zeros had been up against a top laner of even skill, maybe he would have been 20 CS down. I can see that. But at 6, you just get a free kill on the Rumble. You just get your jungler, Cyclone, easy. Maybe do those bans now that you're on red side. And you can get the Wukong.
Play meta, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's a good idea.
So, like, Jarvan Rumble, we've seen a lot, but we saw that a lot last year.
Jarvan's very
and like
much
early spring. It's not good anymore. Like, it's you have there's potency and it has potential to pop off, of course, but you fall behind too far in just existing compared to like a Trundle or a whatever pick. It's the same reason as why we saw like Lee Sin really struggle early, because he wasn't able to find early game pressure in terms of ganking, so he just falls behind jungler.
Yeah, but J4 isn't even the fastest clearer, right? So even if he just power farms, he falls behind. Yeah,
he's terribly slow.
Let's look at the other side. Of course, we don't want to seem biased, as much as it is percent that has to change things. Do you think EVOS they could go the salty run back? I think that comp worked very, very well. I think they looked super comfortable on all 5 picks.
I would like.
I feel like you could even try to bait. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would like to see a bit more proactivity, especially if percent does change their players to not be a human dumpster fire in the top lane. So if you don't have like percent just inting into you're gonna need to be a bit more proactive. But so I want to see that, but yeah, other than that.
Yeah.
What I think EVOS still needs to improve on is definitely objective contests. Because we're very early on in the game, they lost bot lane pressure and still went for the Dragon contest, which was super risky. Percent won the fight, so I feel like that's the biggest issue still with EVOS's gameplay when it comes to Dragon, especially.
We have good news. YT and Eagle are back. Percent is playing their best 5 players. They're giving themselves the best chance possible. I still think it is irresponsible in a series as important for your split as this one to run your subs. I think it is irresponsible, but if they get the next 2 wins, all is forgiven.
I mean, because they've been running 𝗃𝗲, if it was just 𝗃𝗲 I wouldn't have been so
I agree with that.
bothered.
I agree with that.
But 𝗃𝗏 absolutely should not be making his debut now.
I have a lot more patience for teams giving young guys a run. Because you want to just give them experience on stage. It's actually really, really important. And 𝗃𝗲 is a young talent. 𝗃𝗏's not. 𝗃𝗏's old. Just let him go. Put him out to pasture. He's done. But what do we think so far? The game will definitely change as 4 of the 10 picks from last game have hit the ban list. And 𝗃𝗏𝗏 is picked.
𝗃𝗏𝗏 is a very good 𝗃𝗏𝗏 player, especially in lane. He has... think back to spring playoffs where he played against Slater in playoffs, both on top form, and 𝗃𝗏𝗏 actually demolished Slater. So I'm excited to see 𝗃𝗏𝗏 and see what he can do on 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 again. Oh no!
No!
So percent is just wanting to lose. Okay.
Yeah, apparently. So what I was
This
going to
is
say before they
absurd.
just threw
What is
draft,
going on?
I think Titus is not a very good drafting coach at all, personally. But what I was going to suggest before they did that is what I would have liked to see is the Thresh Draven, which they ran into
Or at least
𝗂𝗏𝗡𝗏,
Thresh.
and then smashed that bot lane. And then they won off that immense bot lane pressure and YT playing a really good Wukong. But no, they just pick arguably the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest trap in the game with the 𝗂𝗏𝗏 set, and those do terribly into 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And yeah, you've got 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 connecting. You've won the draft straight up.
The draft ended when the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 set came in. Like, how much? What is going on in the VCS scrims? Like, do the coaches only look at scrims? Because there are stats from the stage, guys. The volley isn't working. And are you going set Ashe bot lane against a 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Thresh? Are you handshaking the lane against a 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏?
You're not even
Apparently they
handshaking
are.
the lane. You're hard losing the lane against a 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Thresh.
It could still be set top lane 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 jungle, which wouldn't really make it too much better. But at least it can still counterpick support, I guess. You could actually go for an enchanter here, try to prop up the Ashe a little bit more, try to make her stronger. Possibility. Not very likely. I feel like this will be set support. We have seen so much set support and top lane 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 together, and they've looked very useless. So let's hope it's a different configuration.
Yeah, truly terrible picks.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ashe is actually a good ADC at the moment. I just don't think she works with a set support agath Thresh 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
I 100% agree. I love that.
I would have liked
Ashe
Ashe Thresh would have been a good lane, and force 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to not have the perfect support for him. Thresh 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is so broken. Why are
Thresh
you letting them do it?
Thresh is still sitting at an 85% win rate or something, because he just collected another win in the last game. Insane win rate in this league. So giving up the Thresh doesn't really seem like a good idea, especially when he's paired with the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s.
So it might actually end up being set jungle here if they lock in this Braum. I still don't think
could be jungle volley as well. 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
That's a better pivot than going set support, but it's not. That's counterpicking yourself.
The
Lisa's
obsession
good
with
at Leona,
Leona is
though.
also very
To
strange.
be
Yeah,
fair,
he had a very good Leona game. That is fair.
And it
but
was against
still.
an 𝗱𝗻𝗄𝗧. It was against Artemis as 𝗱𝗻𝗄𝗧, and he was shutting him down. I'll give credit where credit's due, but I still hate this draft from.
Oh, I really like what EVOS just did. They counterpicked the Volibear jungle. Olaf, one of the very few champs that actually counters Volley in the jungle because he's faster, can fight him early, and they even make him stronger with mid lane Karma. So this is now basically a play around Zorn and Zeros in the early game, and then transition in the late game to div kit carry, a configuration I wanted to see earlier with with EVOS, and I feel like this is almost the perfect team composition for them.
Okay, Glory gets his rise. He has had some very good performances on that. He'll have an easy lane. Should fairly easy against Parquet's Karma. That's not particularly scary. But lads, we can see both team comps. It's hard to ignore. Maybe if we forgot that we were in the VCS, if we just pretended we were in a land where only win rates mattered, maybe this would be a good percent draft. But I have not seen a good Volibear yet in the VCS. There is a Karma on the other team as well. Like, they just run away. Just run away from
especially top lane Volibears looked very underwhelming, very lackluster. Jungle Volibear is okay in my opinion. He falls off very, very hard mid-late game, but so does top lane Volibear, and top lane Volibear doesn't even start well, especially if he goes full tank in my opinion. So I really don't like top lane Volibear. But I actually really like the last pick Rise. What do you think about that?
I don't mind the last pick Rise. My mind was going more towards a like LeBlanc or something. Just try and completely remove and like just all in on removing div kit, and then maybe you can win a fight off having an AD carry. And then just everyone peels for Big Koro. Big Koro is the safest man alive, and then you win through that. But Rise adding that sort of AoE consistent DPS also sort of provides more or less the same sort of thing in a completely different way. So I think
I really feel
I think
𝗀𝗲𝗃 could
that
hard
sort of-
carry this game.
He could.
I think he definitely could.
Level 16 Rise and 𝗀𝗲𝗃 being the player he is very much a possibility to carry the game. They're just got to be able to get there.
Yeah, if they
It's
can
pretty
get to
short
6
range
items,
from
I'm
EVOS.
actually in favor of percent's comp.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know if that top side can get you to 6 items, because it's a terrible top side.
Yeah. It's going to be tricky. Now, Vinny, you did have a little bit of a last word there. So what's your prediction? Lock it in firmly. Is EVOS getting the 2-0?
I think EVOS is getting a 2-0 because percent
All right.
keeps drafting terribly.
The EVOS resurgence continues, according to Vinny. We'll talk to you again after the game, mate. Yulwei, it's me and you. And look, this percent draft has potential. If we finally get a good 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗲, it's actually not bad. I just don't have faith.
Yeah, I really like the Rice for our last pick, because usually Rice runs into those problems where he has insane damage, but never gets to use the damage in team fights because he gets zoned by Orianna, by 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗧, by some long-range ADC like, let's say, Senna, let's say, 𝗲𝗲, and he never gets close enough. But look at the composition for EVOS. We have the Renekton, we have 𝗬𝗲, we have Thresh, all want to get in your face. Perfect for Rice. He just stands there, uses his insane AoE DPS in the late game, and just cuts down all the front line for EVOS, while his Ashe might not have the same damage as Aphelios. But if the front line is that much in favor of percent, I think she can catch up to him. I actually really like the chances of 𝗀𝗲𝗃 in the late game.
I agree with that. I also really like Ryze into Aphelios just as a rule. I think Ryze makes Aphelios' life really hard, similar to how Orianna does, which is kind of weird because Orianna makes Ryze's life really hard. Because you don't want to be taking those overloads, but as Aphelios, you sort of need to be in a position to get your AoE down and get your damage going. So yeah, I have a lot of faith in 𝗀𝗲𝗃. I think YT's in a lot of trouble in this lane. It's Renekton versus 𝗬𝗲𝗃. Like, look at it, it's already happening. And we've said, when Xerath does well, EVOS does well.
So I kind of understand the pivot in jungle and top lane for percent. So they didn't want to go 𝗬𝗲𝗃 into the very hard Olaf matchup in the jungle. But then again, is the set Olaf matchup that much better? I guess it's a little bit better, but is it worth putting your top lane in such a bad matchup on the other hand? Because 𝗬𝗲𝗃 into the shield-breaking Renekton is really a big problem for him. Very easy for Renekton.
Is it even a little bit better? I think it's the same, right? Set does not win 1v1s against Olaf. Very few people do. And Set has worse ganks. I just think the Set pick
and Set has a much better laning phase into Renekton, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I think the Set was
it's a little bit of a strange change.
I don't know why they picked.
Also, the problem with 𝗬𝗲𝗃 top and Set jungle is that both will go full tank, so you have no damage whatsoever on top side. While Set top lane can still go damage and actually be quite a strong mid game and even early late game champion when it comes to contributing damage to your team composition. So you now have basically committed to a 3-man front line. That means if 𝗑𝗀𝗃 or 𝗀𝗲𝗃 fall behind, they have no damage in this team. They really need to play through 𝗀𝗀𝗃, which is something percent doesn't really like to do. They want to put him on weak side and let him farm for late game. This is a big change for the setup for percent.
That said, I think the 𝗏𝗏 pick, I think the 𝗏𝗏 pick is a good pick, just to clarify. I think it's a good pick, but it does open a window because, like, 𝗀𝗀𝗃's not dying to a 𝗏𝗏. He's not going to fall behind to a 𝗏𝗏. He's fine. He's not a very threatening champion. So he should be able to get to that late game Ryze stage and have a chance. Ooh, YT has run into the Viking, gets the stun and the storm break, so he's okay. But yeah, you see how that one goes.
That was the first interaction for junglers. So far, they've quietly farmed up. Of course, Olaf a little bit ahead, 1 camp out of the set, and will steal another one away using his mid lane pressure. So we see already the stronger jungle matchup utilized. YT in a bad position. This is such a big problem for top lane 𝗬𝗲𝗃. Another problem why I really don't like to see him in pro games. He always pushes. He can't stop his push. And it's so easy for the enemy top laner to build up waves, to manipulate the wave in his favor, because 𝗬𝗲𝗃 really can't do much with the wave. He always pushes if he accidentally farms, because you always stack up to 5, right? So now Renekton stacks up the wave to crash into the turret. He could just cheat a recall here. You could call in the dive. Probably just going to force a plating if he's able to do that.
Yeah, and there were pings on the top
close
lane.
enough.
I think 𝗲𝗏 does want the dive. It won't be on this wave. Will probably be on the 6, but that's a little bit dangerous. VCS dangerous to dive when he has access to his ultimate. It gains so many stats and could potentially hit the big double stun. And looking at it as well...
Yeah, you really don't need to dive this.
No.
You already have a massive CS lead.
Yeah.
Just play with the waves. You could try to freeze, which would make YT overextend into the lane. You can once again crash the next wave and get the plating, because another stack of your demolish.
Thought it might have been getting
Gets
cold
there.
in the top lane for a moment. 𝗲𝗏 calls the back instead. There's no freeze. It was good lane manipulation though. 𝗲𝗏 definitely feeling himself today, playing much better than we've been seeing him. Ooh.
Lisa.
Oh well, it probably wasn't going to be a particularly good engage anyway, so perhaps Lisa
Yeah, no.
saved
It actually would have probably
Yeah.
cost him all of his life.
Yeah, it probably saved himself from himself by missing that E. Maybe tried to bait a panic flash, but oh dear, speaking of flashes, I think Lisa might need to use his to have any chance of surviving. Hits the Zenith Blade for some distance. He's on the run. There's the flash. 𝗣𝗏𝗏 has to use his as well. Eagle arrives with a very big face breaker, the Haymaker as well, dealing a lot of damage, but they all back off.
That was so insanely aggressive from Eagle. His bot lane was basically 0 HP between the two of them, and he just decided to flash straight into the enemy bot lane.
Insane.
I guess he gets another summoner spell. Yeah, he got Soul's Flash out of there. But the bot lane has double flash advantage now for EVS, so presents bot lane in a very, very precarious situation.
Dear.
And
There's
there we
still
go.
a 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏. It's a guaranteed route. It's a guaranteed kill. And 𝗏𝗏 has first blood.
How great to see an ADC using 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏 aggressively, flashing forward for the guaranteed stun. 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏, I really like to see 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 play this champion. I think he utilizes especially the aggressive capabilities to its maximum. Sometimes he's a little bit too aggressive. That's just the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 syndrome. But overall, just a very impressive Aphelios play. And we get the first dragon for EVS. They also get a kill on their jungler, who already was ahead 2 levels over Eagle. So it's going to get worse and worse in the jungle matchup. Eagle can't even get close to the 𝗏𝗏. He now doesn't have flash either. So if it finds the 𝗏𝗏 in the jungle, 𝗏𝗏 will just run him down and kill him.
Yep.
1v1, straight up.
Eagle could, like you said, it was a super aggressive play. If Eagle had played it better, he actually probably gets a kill there. He flash face broke, but they were both on the same arm. You only get the stun if you bring both the guns together. You can't flex just one. So you only got a little knockback. It's not good enough. You really do need to crack the heads together.
Also, yeah, if he could have ran in there and then flash reposition his Haymaker, that could have been a kill as well. But I guess he doesn't get close enough to the damage then, to deal damage then. So yeah, that's not really an option. Eagle just desperately trying to get to level 6. 20 CS deficit in the jungle already.
I was going to point that out before the play erupted. They've made... Vinnie said, don't opt into a jungle matchup where you just lose based on clear speed. Which they did. Set is never clearing as fast as 𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Yeah.
Even
And
without
all
the
of it's a
plays
counter
going
pick.
wrong, he's still going to be behind in CS.
I have to say, I really like what the VCS has done with 𝗏𝗏 so far, because 𝗏𝗏 was basically a blind pick at the start of the season, or a split, I should say, for most leagues, but not so much in VCS. And VCS kind of utilizes 𝗏𝗏 to its best potential, just by counterpicking 𝗏𝗏 into certain jungle matchups where you can really shine and control the early game. And we all know 𝗏𝗏 kind of falls off later, especially if he's not able to accelerate early. He is a very binary champion, just running in, losing all his resistances. So I like him as a counter pick, and once again utilized perfectly. Look at that CS gap in the jungle.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. It's 2 levels again. It's almost like 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 kept playing. It's the same exact situation as last game, and that is very worrying for %. Comment on the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 point. He is, of course, a little bit of a fall-off late game. He is super binary. There's nothing you can do about that. But, thankfully, he's got, you know, his mum, his karma, has come, taken him down to Athlete's Foot, gotten him a nice pair of shoes, so he can run even faster in the late game, as long as she's there to help him out. It's very nice. That's a speedy 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗣𝗲𝗏, you can't even kite it as that. You don't slow him.
And also, look at 𝗀𝗏's build. He's going the Olaf route, the AD Olaf, so a lot of damage in the mid game.
𝗬𝗏, he's in trouble. He has to ult out.
Yeah, he had flash available. There was never going to be a kill.
Yeah, but they get his ult. It's such a long
out of pressure still.
𝗬𝗏's in trouble. There's the rune prison. Eagle will superplex him. The arrow was just for flair. It doesn't quite land. Are they going to get this kill? It's a disaster if they don't.
𝗂𝗏 time. 𝗂𝗏 just running away, and now the dive on YT.
Oh no, YT's been dove. Oh no, oh no.
Hard every day. And there's the 𝗘𝗀𝗺. That's going to be first turret for 𝗂𝗏 and 𝗀. Those two are going to be so much stronger than Eagle and YT.
What happened to Percent today? I don't understand.
Look at this goal.
They were one
Look
of
at
our
this
teams.
insane goal lead.
Percent was a team where we were saying, hey, their mechanics aren't the best. They're actually pretty low tier for the VCS. But their brains, they've got the brains. Their coaching staff is pretty good. Is 𝗘𝗀𝗢 sick? Is there just an impersonator on stage? What the hell happened?
I mean, the draft's always been a little bit questionable, but their in-game execution was very, very good for a new team, especially their coordination and how they played around objectives. But so far, they're just falling apart in laning phase and just mispositioning to enemy gangs. 2-0 for EVS, a pretty slow game for VCS standards, but not in terms of gold.
This is a bit of a tragedy that we're going to see play out here. It's 4K. It's 4K at 11 minutes. There's only been 2 kills. It's not like there was flip fights. This is just lanes.
And with such an easy composition to snowball as well. You have all your gold on your Olaf, almost 100 CS on that one. He has more CS than the enemy top laner, almost same CS as his ADC. He's insanely far ahead. 3 levels up in the jungle, by the way. Okay, now Eagle hit 7. But still very far ahead in experience too. You have a 𝗂𝗏 to make him even stronger, to heal him, to shield him. She's going to build Ardent Sensor soon as well. So this Olaf is actually basically the carry of the team right now. He's not the tank Olaf. He is full damage Olaf. And he's going to run down 𝗣𝗲𝗏 in no time whatsoever.
And that's good. This is what you want out of Olaf. I loved the point you made about how the VCS uses it as a counter pick, because it's super interesting and it's good. Because tank Olaf, we've heard pro players in other regions talk about it. It's just, why are you playing tank Olaf? He's just worse at being a tank as an actual tank. As EVS picks up their second dragon. But this is the damage Olaf. He will be hunting the Ashe down and winning a victory for the Winter's Claw, because the 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s are pretty terrified of that one, for sure. Dear God.
184 AD.
Yeah.
He's sitting on 184 AD right now. You get AD when you press R as well, right? You get extra 30 AD or something. So he's going over 200 with max axes.
You trade resistance.
He's going to one-shot 𝗣𝗲𝗏. He's...
The Ashe is dead.
Wow. That is so much damage.
Sign the death warrant already, because this is the execution. Look at this. They have to roam Lisa up for Eagle to get his red buff. Yeah. They have no control. The team comp is pretty bad. This is mostly the top side picks. I actually don't mind the Ryze Ashe Leona. I think that's fine. The top side 2 are this disastrous in my opinion. But it's the play that really has mattered here. It's that in-game execution, as you said, which is what we've wanted to praise Percent for. New kids on the block that are playing a smart macro style. Where'd it go? The skill vampires. I thought we warded them off. We got the garlic out. They're back.
We forgot the garlic today.
They're back Yulwei.
It's a disaster. Oh no. But I have to compliment a lot of the players in this game. We are in a minor region still, but the CS numbers are insane in this game. Look at those. 160 at 14 minutes. Very good farming from all our players. So at least that part is going well, especially for Glory. And of course for 𝗂𝗏 as well. 𝗂𝗏's very high CS number, 𝗲𝗏𝗏 as well. So a good execution on securing all the CS they can. Of course, 𝗀 is also sitting on more than 100 right now. 50 CS up casually in the jungle. Yeah, no big deal.
Ridiculous. How does Percent come back from this? They don't even outscale. Maybe the Ryze outscales the whole comp, but it's an Aphelios late game. Lisa, oh good God, Lisa. That's bad.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Another kill for Olaf.
You did not need to be there. You knew that their team was close by. That's a terrible decision. EVOS.
Shout out to EVOS to advance. They advanced their vision, and this vision was one of the worst things about EVOS so far. They basically have the full brawn team, no brain whatsoever. They so far have only won games by just continuously forcing fights around dragons. So it's good to see their vision game advance a little bit this week, and they are finally moving closer to the ideal we were talking about when we thought EVOS was going to be first place in the regular split. This is basically what we were talking about. Strong lanes, winning all the lanes, as 𝗁 enabled by 𝗂𝗃𝗃, and playing around Zeros, getting all the advantages. Bot lane holding a strong position as well. And now you're looking at a 5k gold lead at 15 minutes. Two dragons up.
Apparently the secret for EVOS's success is Rift Herald could be contested.
Oh no, this could be it.
It could be. They get it. They've gone for the Realm Warp. There is a nice little read by Lisa, but he might have read the wrong book, because now he's just got to run. There's a good Zhonya's into the Superplex on the Crocodile, but that's a big croc. Don't chase this 1%. Take what you've got and get the hell out.
Surprisingly good fight for Percent. They are still a very good team fighting team, and they knew that the EVOS couldn't contest even 5k up when the ADC is in bot lane. So EVOS basically traded bot lane farm and experience for 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗏 for the second Herald, which actually could be a good trade. But they also lost their flash on 𝗁, and 𝗁 a little bit overextended in terms of positioning. Very good Ryze ultimate there. Does this amount too much for Percent? Probably not. They didn't even get a kill. They collected the one Herald, but can it even break a turret? All the turrets still on full HP.
They're going to be fast. B goes for the flash hook, but a good flash by Glory. So, Yulwei, something I want to pick your brain on. Runen's first for 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗏. This is a weird one. What's going on here? He wants to go straight into the AoE. Wants to get that Inferno rolling. What's going on here?
Very wave clear focused. Trying to push in waves, apply more wave pressure, I guess. Of course, if you have Inferno, you basically have a Runans on top of your Runans, so that wave clear is going to be insane. It's a strange choice. Actually, an item build we had like 2 seasons ago, where a lot of ADCs would go a BF sword into first Zeal item. So we're back to that. Gets him a lot of movement speed, of course, and a lot of attack speed too. I don't really mind it too much, especially if he was just sitting on the 2,600 gold or something. He was feeling like that would be more effective.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. It's a little bit strange for sure, but it gets him more attack speed and will help in extended fights against YT and Eagle, especially diving onto him.
Yeah, potentially just wanted to guaranteed have the spike for this dragon fight. This is Ocean Soul point to go up to, I should clarify. It's always a bit weird when you talk about Ocean Soul point. It was a third Drake for EVOS if they get it. This is an important one for Percent to slow the game down, to get Glory in it. Renekton is not here. Glory is hiding. Oh, the teleport is coming. They need to burst this dragon down now, but it's stolen away. 𝗁 redeems himself. YT, he comes in and he's immediately taken down. Koala Bear for sure. And all of Percent will be joining him. Glory, you'd have to live up to your name, but he warps out of there. And I think
this SK using his ultimate.
I am already confident enough to say EVOS is about to pick up their second series win.
And strong snowball performance so far from EVOS. Very, very strong fight contests. And once again, we saw them being a little bit late to the fight, but this time around they were strong enough to just run in there, steal away the dragon. Though you can't really talk about the steal when someone is this far up in levels. It's very easy for him to just say, okay, thanks for the leash, smite, and I get this. Look at him. Look at 𝗁. How does he get this one? It's just a smite.
Ragnarok, walks in, he's 2 levels higher. That's super easy.
𝗁, very useful. A Volibear in the backline just instantly dies. Even Zeros even stays alive. And Glory, look at Glory. Oh man, that's so sad to watch him. He's in prison for the last 2 series. His team has really let him down. And Percent is very likely to drop to 2-4, going 0-4 in game score this week against Cerberus and EVOS.
And it's got to be said that this one is on them. Like, EVOS, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're an EVOS fan out there, this is what I was saying. I thought people were reading too much into the OPG series, and I still think people read too much into it. But this is a legit win for EVOS. Percent, despite the fact that they have done some of the worst decisions I've ever seen, they are not a bad team for VCS standards. They are middle of the pack. This is a legit win for EVOS. If you're an EVOS fan, be happy with this. This is a good sign of the resurgence. If you're a % fan, dear God, you need a priest to help you get over this one. Because it needs divine intervention if this is what they think is good.
It's about time EVOS picks it back up. Of course, it's very unfortunate for % fans that it's against them now, because in week 1, % would have smashed EVOS. But EVOS will move to 2-4 as well, tying with % in serious score. I'm not quite sure about the game score. Should be around the same level as well. But starting 0-4, it looked very dire. Of course, the top 6 teams now get to playoffs, so even an 0-4 start can still get you to playoffs. But they needed to finally pick up the pace. They needed to finally get to form. And it definitely seems like they have done so. Playing 2-0 against OPG and %, if they close this out, which looks very likely, of course.
It'd be hard not to.
I mean, it's EVOS, you know. They have lost the game from 10,000 gold ahead. It's always possible.
𝗂𝗲𝗏, to be fair. 𝗂𝗏𝗏 is a little bit better. Glory, he is speeding down. 𝗂𝗏𝗏 wants to just try and get the trade kill and run away through the jungle. His team is not there. I think EVOS is wanting to collapse,
Baron?
but look at Baron. They're just saying, oh, you want to play silly buggers with the crocodile? He's hitting them with the thumbs up. Baron's almost dead. They're realm warping over. You are trading 1 kill for Baron %. It's not worth it. He's not even going to get the kill. He's on the run. There it is. The Ash Arrow's been used. Can we switch to the interesting fight? They do get the shutdown. There are no teleports. Actually, YT's coming. Baron is secured. And look where this teleport's landing. He's buggered. The bear is dead. They can't get Parquet. Big Koro's getting hunted. Here goes Sorn. He's charging forward. The axe is swinging. He gets suplexed. It literally does not matter. Lisa says, please, dear God, will my shield hold? And the answer is no. Nothing will. EVOS get Baron and the ace.
Tell me why % decided to contest this one after investing so many resources bot lane. What was that about? %, why did he do that? It was an OPG play if I've ever seen one. OPG infamous for contesting every single fight, even from a very severe gold deficit. Now they just threw away all their chances. Of course, it was already very slim, the chance to win this game, but why would you contest that Baron? You just invested so much time to kill 𝗂𝗏𝗏s. 1 kill for Dragon, a Baron, of course not great, but at least you stay alive in the game. When you throw away 4 kills on top of that, I mean, at this point, you can just press FF, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, to put it into perspective, so 𝗂𝗏𝗏s, he died there. Still the perfect play by him, for the record. And we'll come back to it after this replay. It starts off with an arrow onto 𝗂𝗏𝗏s, but what are they doing?
Yeah, very nicely done. This grab from B was very crucial to keep Eagle out of the pit, because there was a fail smite from Sorn. We saw Karma collecting that one. Sorn is level 13, by the way. Yeah. Eagle is level 9. Only a 4 level difference in the jungle.
This is...
that jungle matchup
can we show this? Like, our channel is not marked for mature audience. Like, are we okay? Are we getting taken down? It's Twitch staff, please. We didn't know.
Please have mercy.
But as I was saying, 𝗂𝗏𝗏s dying was all that is preventing the perfect game. And it was still the right decision. 𝗂𝗏𝗏s did an int. Yeah. Look at the team for like 30 seconds. What is going on?
Yeah, look at Sorn's stats in this game. Sorn was one of the biggest underperformers in the first 2 weeks. He looked horrible. He missed every single smite possible. He was out-jungled by everyone. And now he's 7-0-2. They picked around Sorn in this team composition. They counter-picked him, his Olaf. And he is popping off. He is so strong. They killed the Ocean Soul now for the 4th time or something. Interesting. But they finally collected that Ocean Soul and will set up for the bot lane push. This should be the end of the game.
Yeah.
Glory is desperately trying to farm up another item to maybe get to level 16 as well, and maybe have one fighting chance still, but yeah, it's like, looking very unlikely.
Apparently, the secret to success is for EVOS fans to just abuse Sorn. Because he's mad. He's mad. Don't actually do that. Don't abuse players. It's really, really mean. Especially if you're a fan. But this is a very good performance out of Sorn. This Olaf is absolutely ridiculous. Normally it's him that presses Ragnarok, but I think it's Ragnarok for the enemy team. As there is nothing left standing. Asgard has fallen.
They didn't even try to. They didn't even 5-man that inhibitor. They were confident enough to say, "Nah, Zeros can go top lane, can prepare the next inhibitor,
They were
so we
right.
can just go over there, and he will arrive." So now the Baron gets applied. Oh,
Ooh, it
interesting
only hits
arrow.
B, and there's absolutely no follow-up, so why even pull the trigger on it? The third inhib will die. Let's be honest,
And Loey's still level 16.
you say they didn't 5-man that inhib. If we totaled up stats, I think it's currently about an 8v3.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Olaf counts for 4 at least.
Yeah, exactly. This is not the best situation. Eagle has to use his flash just to dodge the first axe. He's so scared. This is unwinnable for %. This is genuinely just unwinnable. This is over. It's going to be the next wave. They're just going to walk in. We are getting teased at the
What
moment.
can they do?
But here they go. EVOS wants to give their fans a second win. They want to give them some faith that the split is still alive. They are not getting anything your way. There is an ocean soul. 𝗘𝗀𝗽𝗪 charges forward. He is burning them all down. And it's only 2 members of % left alive. It's only 1 member of % left alive. And the Nexus will be the next to go. And EVOS are back. They've got their second series in a row. And they're making a case for their split being alive.
What a stomp. What a stomp this was. And not in the direction most people expected it to be. % getting rolled by EVOS, and EVOS finally alive in the split. Are they here to play? Are they here to contest Cerberus and Team Secret? Definitely looks likely after this game. That was a very impressive series, and they end 6 of the 14 matches with a 2-4 record, but the last 2 series 4-0 in game score.
Yep, that is a big swing back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Vinny. That was a hard one for you to watch, I imagine.
I mean, no, because as soon as there were a couple of plays where I was just like, yeah, all right, I know exactly how this is going to go.
I'm not going to lie. I think I'm happy watching VCS set lose because maybe they'll stop picking it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Legit. I had, like, there was the play around the mid lane where they tried to gank the Karma, and there was no damage coming out of the jungler.
Yeah.
There was 0 damage, and look, Set's basically a garbage champion. He might as well not be in the game. Stop picking him. I love the champion design, but
he got nerfed like 6 patches in a row.
Yeah.
He's still first picked in almost every region, so there seems to be something to him, but definitely not in the VCS.
I don't understand it. I
think in
I
other
don't even
regions
think he's
they make
looked
him.
that good in other regions.
Let's not get too
Yeah, I
bogged
agree.
down on Set. Let's crack on. I think we have to face a little bit of reality. I don't want to take it away from EVOS. That was a very clean 2 games out of them. They looked really good. But that should not have been how % plays. Bringing in 𝗘𝗀𝗪 and 𝗃𝗏𝗏, that was arrogance. You were arrogant against EVOS, and you have no right to be arrogant when you are 2-3 in the standings. You are now 2-4, and that is your fault %. You brought in 2 worse players and then entered a draft. That's not good enough. Yeah. You can't do that. Guess what? EVOS, their ceiling is the best team in the league. That's their ceiling. Yes, their floor's been terrible, but you meet them on level 2 of the damn skyscraper, and they're still as good as you. You can't do it. MVP for game 2.
Very frustrating to watch.
Let's just crack on to MVPs.
I think it has to be Son.
Yeah.
He was played around for sure, so he was set up for success, but he made it work. You still need to put the final, you need to execute on what you've been set up for. And you could argue, okay, yeah, Karma gave him all the shields, Zeros gave him all the priority, but in the end, it was still him getting all the kills, being in the right place at the right time. So I would vote for Son.
Hitting the smites as well.
Yep.
So he did certainly deserve that. And you need to fill, guys. I haven't set up player of the series yet. Keep that one going, Chad. What else did we think? Let's look at the EVOS side. I think there's not too much to analyze for % because it was so out of character. Are EVOS back?
There was one thing.
Go ahead, though.
Well,
first off.
Before this, I did actually say I thought I wanted to see proactivity out of EVOS rather than just letting percent lose to them.
Yeah,
And we actually saw a good amount of that with their
𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻.
heavy invades, heavy jungle focus, and yeah, it was very, very well done out of them in terms of play.
Absolutely. And now, of
They
course,
are definitely on the upswing.
it seems obvious, but player of the series will be going to 𝗀𝗏. A resurgence out of the EVOS jungler. He has had a very, very rough split so far. I alluded to it in cast, but he's been catching a lot of flack from his fans. Some of it undeserved, some of it deserved. But after this week, I'm sure the 𝗀𝗏 faithful are back in full swing.
It seemed the trick was to put the smite on Parquet with the spellbook because he got that Baron.
True, it's true. It might not have been fail
Yeah.
smite then. It could have just been they timed it that way,
it
but
was
who
a
cares?
double smite.
They got it. That's what matters. 𝗀𝗏 did not get the Baron stolen against him. That's certainly an achievement. And with that, our first series draws to a surprising close, at least in my opinion. Good on you, 𝗀𝗏. Good on you, EVOS. Not good on you, 𝗀𝗏. You need to lift your game. Hopefully, 𝗀𝗏 can come back because they are a good team. I want to see them succeed because I want more good teams in the VCS. If EVOS is back, though, they could very much take that title as well of one of our good teams. We will be back in a little while. The stream will turn off for a bit, but it'll be back in plenty of time. Don't you worry. For our second series tonight, which should be a good one. We'll see you then here on VCS English. All the VCS action in English, obviously, right here in about 20 minutes. See you then, guys.